what I have to tell you, now that we have learned how to do two-column proofs, now that proofs have been introduced into your life, they are going to become part of geometry, okay? We are not going to go through too many lessons, but there won't be one around there, okay? So we are actually going to cover 2 whole lessons today. Okay, we're going to talk about lesson 28, triangle congruency. Have we had a lesson that has talked about triangle congruency here lately? Yes, we have. Why don't you open your books and open your notes and find out where that was and what was it? Lesson 28 is triangle congruency. Which one previous did we do that was a triangle congruency, Jackson?
I'd say lesson 25.
Lesson 25. So if you've looked back at your lesson 25, okay, so this is a pass on lesson 25. What was lesson 25 about, other than triangle congruency?
The corresponding parts.
Okay, we did a lot of things that are talking about corresponding parts.
And the congruency statements.
And the congruency statements. Is there anything else?
CPCT.
Okay, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That is very good. Let's remember that one for later in this lesson. What else? Oh, there had to be something. We should have a side thing. The SSS postulate. The side postulate, I think, was postulate 13. Okay, can you go back and read postulate 13 that you have looked up? Postulates and theorems, or the back of your book, or lesson 25. All right, Sadie has it.
If 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent.
If 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, then those triangles are congruent. And all of their corresponding parts must be congruent. So lesson 28, triangle congruency. What letters are beside the triangle congruency in lesson 28? SAS. What in the world is SAS? Go ahead, Axon.
Side, angle, side.
Side, angle, side. So what does that postulate? I believe on page 175. And it really should say postulate 15. If you're on page 175 with me. We like to follow along. It should say postulate 15. Nobody's does. If you're in the back of the book, it says postulate 15, the side angle side postulate. Okay? Can you read that for me? Go ahead, Jackson.
If 2 sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to 2 sides and the included angles of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent by the same side, same angle side.
Side angle side congruency. SAS. Okay? So if you have 2 sides and an included angle, then they'll be congruent. Great. We're going to move ahead. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. Lesson 30 is, guess what? Triangle congruency. That's a C. And out beside lesson 30, there's some more 3-letter words that are angle, side, angle. Bless you. ASA. And then there's an AA. There's an angle side. Okay? So all of these letters are very important to us. Okay? And we'll write down these postulates and theorems later. Not necessarily right now. Okay? But I do this so that you can have all 4 of them together. Okay? There are only 4 triangle congruency theorems. I understand some of them are postulates. Okay? But there are 4 ways to prove triangles congruent. By the side, side, side. And what did we say about the side, side, side? 3
The three
sides.
sides have to be congruent.
2, 3
The other
sides
three sides of the other triangle.
of the other triangle. Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase all 4 of these right now. It would be helpful to have notes. Yes. And then we have a side angle side, where it said 2 sides and the, somebody read the postulate 15, 2 sides and the included angle will be congruent to 2 sides and the included angle of the other triangle.
Wait, is this thing here recording?
So what does it mean to have an included side?
The angle that is shown, or the side that is shown.
Okay, I'm drawing 2 triangles up at the top to have an example. So I have A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. And I have side AB is congruent to side XY. Side BC is congruent to side YZ. Which angle would be included between the 2 sides? Which angles need to be congruent to prove these 2 triangles are congruent by SAS?
B.
Wait. Pause. We're not going to yell stuff out. Is he correct? Is B the included angle between AB and BC? Is that true? Yes. Angle B is the included angle between the 2 congruent sides. What angle in XY? You know, sometimes they will do this and they won't draw it out for you. Sometimes, okay, pretend there's not a drawing. Between XY and YZ. What is the included angle between sides XY and YZ? Number 1, I personally would draw it. Or, what else? What do you say, Jackson?
Y.
Angle Y. It's the one that's included in both of them. Okay? So, angle Y. If angle B and angle Y are congruent, then those 2 triangles are congruent. Okay? Now, can I ask you a question? With those 2 triangles up there, do you know anything about angle A and angle X? No, not really. What about angle C and angle Z? What about line AC and XZ? You don't know anything about those 3 parts of the triangle. But, what do you know about the triangles themselves?
The right triangle.
They are not.
That's a right triangle.
No.
It's not.
You know nothing that that's a right triangle. You know no measurements whatsoever.
I just looked up
No.
one.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. What do you know about triangle ABC and triangle XYZ? They're congruent. The triangles are congruent. How do you know they're congruent, Abby?
What from the drawing?
Well, from things that you know about the drawing.
Cause like the lines.
What lines?
Like in between A, B, and XY, there's like a tick mark.
There's a tick mark that means they are congruent. So you have a side that's congruent, and then you have an angle that's congruent, and then you have another side that's congruent. Does everybody see? I use my fingers a lot with this. Okay, so follow my fingers. I have a side, angle, side. Are these 2 triangles congruent by the side, angle, side postulate?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what can you say about side AC and side XZ.
They're congruent
How do you know?
because the triangles are congruent.
Okay, so why? How do you know?
Because those lines are already proved congruent to the other one, so they have to be congruent.
Why?
Because it's common sense.
No. Why? How do you know? I agree they're congruent, but how do you know?
Like the postulate.
Somebody's already read it to me today. Oh, that's gonna be great. We're gonna use it again. You read it to me. You read it to me. Go back to
Oh, I
your
didn't?
notes. Yes.
Oh, triangles.
No, we already proved the triangles are congruent. How do I know line AC is congruent to line XZ?
What lesson was this?
Lesson 25. No. Not a postulate. Not a theorem.
Ooh, two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the third angles are congruent.
I'm not asking what I
CP.
missed.
It's the same thing.
Jackson, say it louder.
The corresponding parts of congruent triangles and
Are
are
congruent.
congruent.
The corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, we will use it a lot. Prove they're congruent? Great. Tell me the other sides are congruent. Okay? Alright, there's the first two. We still have two more to go through. The angle side angle. So are we in lesson 30 now? On page 180. Page 188. The angle side angle. Page 188. Somebody read for me the angle side angle, postulate 16. Go ahead, Paxton.
Two angles in the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles in the included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent.
So this time I need two angles and the included side are congruent to two angles and the included side. Okay, question. Over here, kind of side note example. If I have angle A and angle W, what is the included side between angle A and angle W? Don't say it out loud yet.
Are we going on to that?
No, it's not. It's a completely different problem. What is the included side? Question mark.
There's no other letters.
There are no other letters. What is it, Jackson?
A and W.
AW.
Oh,
What is the, if I were to draw an angle A and an angle W, no matter wherever else anything goes, what's the included side? AW. And it's that easy. They won't always draw it for you. Okay? But it can be that easy. So two angles and the included side are congruent to two angles and the included side of another. Okay? I clumped the last two together, basically. They did too.
let's do one more. Hi, Carter.
Angle side. It's actually a theorem. No,
You never said hi back.
because he's trying not to interrupt class. Angle side is actually a theorem. On page 189. Lucas, will you read theorem 30-1?
If two angles and a non-included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the corresponding non-included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent.
Non-included side. Congruent with two angles and the corresponding non-included side. Alright, so I'm gonna scroll so we can get a triangle maybe at the bottom.
What's a non-included side?
What is a non-included
Doesn't
side?
write two of them.
Because then maybe it has two.
Oh, I get it.
So maybe that's why they make a specification about the corresponding non-included side. So technically over here on this drawing, here's an angle, here's an angle. What are the non-included sides? Well, that one and that one. They're both non-included between the angles. So I could have an angle, angle side, or I could go the other direction. I'm gonna have an angle, angle side. It depends which direction you want to go. And I don't have enough room, so I'm just gonna go to the next page to draw about this one. Is that okay? Can I go ahead and go to the next page?
Yes.
Two angles and a non-included side, congruent to two angles and the corresponding non-included side. If you can read that gibberish, that is that word. Non-included. Okay. We okay? Can I go? Alrighty, okay. Alright, so let's draw some triangles.
Okay, triangles.
And another triangle. And I'm just gonna leave it like that. And we're gonna name it J, B, K, and L, M, P. Okay? So, oh, I probably also need to remind me to talk about one more.
Ooh, JBK is like Jackson Burke. Sorry.
Wow.
I just. And the P is for Paxton. And the L's
Yay.
for Lucas.
Whoa.
And
It is for
for
Margaret.
And the K's for Keith. Wow, two on there.
No, Jackson Burke that ends with a K.
Oh,
Jackson
I get it.
Burke.
It's with an
No,
E
it ends
pack.
with an E Paxton.
Close
The
enough.
sound.
It has a K in it.
Alright, so here we go. Angle J is congruent to angle L.
Oh, and say
Angle B is
nine
congruent to
cups.
angle M. I'm gonna have two questions. I'm gonna write them down. What sides need to be congruent to prove the triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle? Keep your answers to yourself. Okay?
Is there not one that's like angle, angle, angle?
Pause. We'll talk about. Okay,
I thought
there's
about the same
two wonderful things. There's two things we have to talk about. That's one of them. Okay? I promise that's on the next one. First question. Does everybody have an answer
Yes.
for the first question? For angle, side, angle.
Maybe.
What sides need to be congruent to prove the triangle's congruent by angle, side, angle? John, what do you have?
So, BJ is congruent to ML.
BJ is congruent to ML. I agree. For angle, side, angle. Okay? Next question. What sides could be congruent to prove the triangle's congruent by angle, angle, side? Paxton, give me one.
JK is congruent to LP.
Wait, what? Pause. I said 1. JK congruent to what?
LP.
LP. So everybody see sides, angle, side? Okay. Everybody sometimes following my finger. I use fingers to point at things. Does it have to be in that order?
No.
What is another one, Sadie?
J beta PM.
J what?
I mean K beta PM.
K to B. So this line over here, K to B. Congruent to P to M. So could I instead have said angle, side? Yes, I could. The left dash is not as good as the right one. Yes, sir.
So what's like the difference between angle, side angle, and angle, side?
Included angle. Okay. Up here, this one right here, I'm going to do different colors. Let's see. We'll do blue. This right here is this and this. We have an angle, side, angle, side, angle. They're included. Okay? The green, purple, I don't know what colors they are now.
But it'd be like JB, then the JK.
So if this line is congruent to this one, we don't know the blue ones, then we have an angle, side. Now, if we know all of them, that's more information. We want to prove things with as little information as necessary. Okay? There's going to be 3 things that you know. Either you're going to know an angle, and a side, or an angle, side, angle. The question could be, could I know, I'm still on eraser. Could I know angle, side, angle, and angle, side, and those be congruent? Can you prove those 2 triangles are congruent by that?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. They have to be both the same piece. Could I have proven them, let's say, take that one away, by that one? They're both angle, side, angle, side, angle, side.
It's got to go to the corresponding.
It has to go to that corresponding. If I start with the 2 marks, tick marks, I have to start with the 2 tick marks over here. Go the same direction, and I didn't. Okay? Have to go the same direction. Alright, so there's some questions. There's one very special triangle. And it has all the angles that measure the exact same. Do you know what type of triangle that is?
That's going to be
That's going to be what?
a regular triangle.
Okay, what does that mean if it's regular?
It's equilateral and equiangular.
So do you know all the angles of every equilateral and equiangular triangle?
Yes.
Yeah. They're all 60 degrees, correct?
Yes.
Are these 2 triangles congruent to each other? They
No.
have the same angles.
No.
They're all 60, 60, 60s.
They're-
They're all equilateral triangles. They all,
Their angles are congruent.
they do not have the same size. This one has 2 feet side lengths, and this one has 8 feet side lengths. They are not congruent. We cannot prove triangles congruent by angle. They can be similar, but they will not necessarily be congruent. Okay? Cannot prove it by angle, side. Sorry. Woo. Angle. Not what I say very often. Okay? Oh, I should have stayed with the other one. There's one more that we don't talk about. Okay? So if we were to happen, but somehow in the other one, it just happened that it was perfect. If we know this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side, and we know one angle that's not included. So why in the SAS, side, angle, side, why does that angle have to be included? Okay? Start looking at this triangle. Are these two triangles congruent?
Yes.
How do you know? Wait, don't say it out loud. Okay? Think about the acronym you're gonna use. Is it side angle side?
Yes.
Really? You're going side angle. Oh wait, whoa! I gotta go way around to get to another side. No, this is not side angle side.
Wait,
You
you can't do that?
cannot. They have to be right next to each other. This actually becomes
Becomes a
side.
angle side.
Oh, angle side side. Uh-oh. What acronym does that spell?
A-
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
donkey.
Okay. So when you have triangles that have angle side sides, they can't be proven congruent in geometry. Well, they can never be proven congruent. Okay? Let me not say never. If it's a right triangle, then we can, and that's a whole different thing. Okay? But angle side sides, we will not talk about in geometry. If you come back to me in trig, we will have a whole lesson on triangles that are angle side sides. Okay? They're not fun. They're not easy, they're yucky. Okay? Because what you don't know up here is what this angle is. Okay? That angle could be anything, and these two sides still be the same. And it changes the length of this line. Okay? So in trig, we'll talk about there can actually be no triangles that exist in an angle side side. There can be one, or there can actually be two. With the given angles and two side lengths, you can have two different triangles in one spot, depending on what that angle is right there. It's kind of crazy. So two that we will not ever talk about are angle, angles, and angle side sides. Okay? So we can't prove those. All right. One class I did this and one class I didn't. So let's see. I'm going to give you two triangles. That's what I'm going to do. We'll make it kind of simple and easy. And I might not even turn them too much. I'm going to give you that angle K is congruent to angle R, and angle Q is congruent to angle P. And I'm going to give you that KL is congruent to RS. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and write this down. What are we given? We're going to do a proof. We're going to be given that angle K is congruent to angle R. Angle Q is congruent to angle P. And KL is congruent to angle RS. Okay? And I want you to prove QL is congruent to PS.
Will this be in our homework?
Well, what be in your homework proofs? Type things like this. Possibly. Hey!
Hopefully we have a snow day tomorrow.
Exactly.
Do you think we will?
It's definitely gonna snow tonight.
It's going to snow.
Can you
But
put a
It's
screen
gonna
on the
snow.
B2 club?
But Wills, you just love us.
you're the only
For
you're the
counting
only
it
teacher that
south,
said
you
it's
think
going to
that
snow. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
100%.
Every other teacher is like, yeah, get your hopes up.
It's 100%
Okay.
going to snow.
Okay, slates will fall from the sky.
Yeah, it's
I
100%.
almost guarantee that.
Yeah,
I should say that if there's any snow at all, we should be out because we get no snow here.
my dad might like lose his mind if like there's like no snow on our driveway and be like, "Hey, we're off for this." That's what he usually does.
Yeah. That's all right. So what's our first
That's a good sign.
statement in this proof? If I'm writing a proof, you're writing a proof. I've given you The given, the proof, and the diagram.
Oh, shit. My mind can't work right now.
Write it down. What's our first statement? Which is angle K is congruent to angle R. Angle Q is congruent to angle P. Side KL is congruent to side RS. And our reason is it was given to us.
How many times do we have to write down the part that's given? Or can we just put
No,
given?
you have to write it all down. You have to write it down.
The entire thing.
Now, the quicker that we can think, the quicker you'll get your homework and you can get started on it. So, what do we know with all of this given information? What do you know? We're thinking, we're not talking yet.
Oh, sorry.
What are you thinking? Everybody should be thinking something. What? I keep saying the same thing. I
No,
don't
I said it's missing. It's library.
I feel like I need to get some more words to say and put them in my library. What are you thinking? What are you thinking, Jackson?
I'm thinking Lucas needs to learn something new.
That's probably a really good thing to be thinking too.
I'll just do
Sadie,
that, I
what do
don't
you
know.
think?
I was looking at the triangles and I think we should use the angle side.
What about the angle sides?
It helps prove that the triangles are
So, is it helpful to say the triangles are congruent?
Yeah.
And how do we know the triangles are congruent?
Because of the angle side.
So, do I need to actually say triangle? Does it matter which letters? K, Q, L. L is congruent to R, P, S. How do you know those two triangles are congruent to each other? And you can simply write angle side. AAS. Are we done? Have we proven what we want to prove?
No. What was the thing that?
No. What do we want to prove?
That thing.
We want this side congruent to that side. How can we know that? Paxton, go ahead.
With the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.
So, if the triangles are congruent, are all of their corresponding parts going to be congruent?
Of
Yes.
course.
So, QL will be congruent to PS. How do we know that, Paxton?
Because of the CPCTC.
And you are done. It might, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay? If you want to write out the whole thing, please do so. Okay? It's a good thing to have and know.
Hi, Carter.
Alright, so you might have to know how to do some things like that. And I'm going to go back and think, oh yes, there are your homework. Because I have some friends in my class, some wonderful students who have mock trial tomorrow night. Do you have mock trial? Is that you this year? So smart. It's okay. So a lot of the juniors are in that. So I went ahead and gave them Monday night's homework and Tuesday night's homework and said it's all due Wednesday. So So therefore, if by chance
We have a
we have a snow day tomorrow,
knew it. I read it.
you already have homework for tomorrow night.
Oh, thank you.
I
Could
know.
not be happier.
Also, I need you to write the postulates and theorems. There's only 3 from these 2 lessons.
Yay. I cannot
Get a piece
wait.
of paper, write it on it, put it in your book. Okay?
Is this all in Renwood?
I think it is. It's on there for Monday and
Oh, it's
Tuesday.
I don't believe it.
We have a test next Tuesday also. It'll be through 30, so hopefully we'll get a little bit ahead. Alright, I don't know that everybody did this last time, or if anybody messed it up. Even lesson numbers? Does that mean all the even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8?
No, the
No.
even
No.
numbers like 18, 12,
It's
64.
the parentheses numbers.
Oh,
Okay?
oh, I'm sorry, Jackson.
What do you think the chances are that we'll be out tomorrow?
I felt the disabled.
Oh,
Rutherford
you should be
County
fine.
gets out. You think
Yeah, I
it's
know.
okay?
That's why I am sorry.